All right, so to close the day off, I just had a little bit of dinner at one of my favorite restaurants that has a happy hour menu. Everything on the menu, the happy hour menu at least, which is a full ration of food, is $5 each item. So I must have spent $12 between tip and food order to eat, and that food is not going to be just for tonight. I had a little bit of the food that really I'm going to end up eating tomorrow for lunch. So basically, I run on $6 per day. That's including tonight's dinner and tomorrow's lunch because I've got leftovers. So I'm just trying to keep a budget. Nonetheless, the food is delicious. The service was great as always, and they kind of are already very well acquainted with me. So that's a good feeling. Is somewhere familiar, somewhere where you feel comfortable. And I think a lot of people who are homeless or who have gone homeless kind of prefer that over anything else. The fact that they are somewhere where they know them, the fact that they are somewhere that they feel taken care of. They see a familiar face that they can trust. That's one of the reasons why I go to this place, is because I feel right at home, even without a home per se. And so yeah, next step up is going to where I normally park my car. I'll find a spot in the street somewhere. This actually looks pretty promising. But I want to leave my car at a place that I know that I'm not gonna. There's a stop. I'm gonna leave it in a place that I know I'm not gonna get a ticket or anything like that for parking there, because there's a lot of areas in Portland where you can't park your car without paying. And I leave early morning, and then I don't come back until about 5:30ish or so. And so, I want to make sure that I'm leaving my car in a place that I'm not going to get a ticket, because that's about the last thing that I need right now, is to get a ticket. And but I've eaten, thanks to God. I have food in my belly for today, and I have a little bit of money left over in my bank account to be able to operate things and be able to go around. I get paid from my job in about 2 days or so. Funny enough, I actually work at a place that does help homeless individuals have or obtain medical, dental, and mental attention, if you will. And so it's kind of ironic that I living or working in this place actually am in this situation. Nonetheless, it's a learning lesson, and it's one that I hope will benefit mankind in general, one that I will hope that will benefit the homeless population around the world, so that people understand it better and understand the reasons for it a lot better than we do. So I'm gonna park my car somewhere here, and then I'm gonna call it a night, and wake up tomorrow, and God willing, I'll wake up tomorrow and head to work and do what I have to do to keep my life going. I have a child who I pay child support for. That takes up a huge sum of my check normally. So it goes without saying that that's probably one of the reasons why I don't venture out to find an apartment right now per se. I can't afford it. Normally, apartments and studios and whatnot, whatever you're gonna rent, is not cheap, because you have to pay the first month's rent, the last month's rent, the deposit, a security deposit, this and that, and I don't know. I kind of can't afford that right now, but at the same time, I don't think I want to commit to something like that either. I have been asked by one of my ex friends, if you will, to go live with him. And I have to admit that despite the fact that we weren't doing that great in our friendship, he had the boldness, say, and the courtesy, of course, to ask me to go live with him and his roommate. And because I was gonna be secure, and I was gonna not have to pay rent for a month and a half. But the fact of the matter, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, is the fact that pride is a big reason why people are homeless and are going through a situation like this. It's not favorable. Nobody wants it, but pride is a huge reason why people go through something like this. And in my case, it wasn't pride, but at the same time it was. Dignity had a lot to do with it, because my friend was the type of friend that was always trying to show me up. He was the type of friend that was always trying to prove that he had one up on me, especially when it came to girls. Oh my goodness, he was just like the alpha macho, and it was completely a completely unnecessary display of power and machoism, if you will. We were by no means competing. I left that very clear to him. And then when our other friend would make fun of me or try to degrade me, to exalt him instead of saying, hey, listen, we don't need that right now, that's not our thing, we're good friends, etc., he'd join along with the mockery and the laughter, and and of course become part of that humiliation process in itself. And so I consider, at least I consider that dignity is very important in someone, in any situation, really, whether you're poor or you're rich. And you can't disrespect somebody. You can't treat someone like that and try to always have one up on them and prove that you're better and more and whatnot, and then come around and say, hey, you know what, you can stay at our house if you want, because it kind of invalidates it. All these other acts just kind of invalidate that one act of courtesy, and that's one thing that we strive to do, is we strive to be the best people that we possibly can, as much as we possibly can, as many times as we possibly need to, not just a one-off type thing. It has to be a consistent pattern of behavior. It has to be something that people know you for. And I think, that's one of the reasons. I don't know the reasons why my friends thought it was okay to mess with me, why my friends thought it was okay to disrespect me. Maybe it's my demeanor, maybe it's the way I carry myself, maybe it's the fact that I say thank you, excuse me, please, I'm sorry. But there's nothing wrong with that. If that made me out to look like the weaker link, I don't mind it at all, because I know that I'm keeping and sticking to my values and principles as a human being. So that being said, I don't know, again, the reasons for it, but I know that when you come and you try to be a nice person, despite not being really nice to the other person that you're offering that to, well, it kind of invalidates it. It kind of invalidates the good action that you just performed on that one. So try to keep a consistent pattern of good behavior towards everyone, so that it's not surprising, and so that your good actions are not invalidated in any way. That's my advice, at least. That's about as much as I could say at this point. Well, there's very little parking right now, so it seems as though I might have to go over to the gym to where the gym is, so that I can sleep there. Although I think somebody's just left, so I'm gonna turn it around. And anyway, all right, so I'm gonna park this and basically call it a night. Ooh. That can happen. Alright, so I choose a quiet place, you know, one that's well lit. You want to make sure you find somewhere where it's well lit, and but yeah, at the same time not calling too much attention to yourself. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to the back of my car here. Take my shoes off. Get to lock the door, of course. And I've already brushed my teeth for the night when I was at the restaurant, so that's basically what I'm gonna hold to. It's just that, see? There's the back of my car. And